Hey guys, what's going on? Today I want to talk to you about our 1958 Dodge Sweptside pickup. I posted a short the other day and yesterday. One was a 57 Dodge Sweptside pickup, and then yesterday was this truck, after I had done a brake job. A lot of people aren't familiar with these trucks, so I just want to kind of do a quick overview. They're very unique truck because of what I'm filming right now, the FINS. And this was the only truck that had pickup fins in the 50s or ever. I know Chevy Cameo kind of had, it was kind of a soft fin. You know, I don't know if it was anything like this. Cameo was fiberglass on the bedside. So these were made in response to the Chevy Cameo in 1957, and Ford had their Ranchero, which was more of like El Camino. So it was more of like a car, like a station wagon without a roof on the back half. We love of the three, the Sweptside is our pick for many reasons, and I'll talk about it. This one we got out of Grass Valley in California. I got it off Craigslist. Got it pretty cheap. It was a driver. It's currently off the road right now. But we daily drove it from 2014 to 2016 in Southern California. My dad loves this truck, as do I. It was a nice driver. We just got an awesome deal on it. These things are very hard to find. Not just because the low production of them. They made about 2,200 all 3 years. But they've rusted really bad. Mopars just didn't do good in the quarters. So when you see these things, the quarters are usually in really bad shape. This one is actually pretty solid. It's a born and raised California truck, and the rear has maybe just a little bit of rust in the back. But man, this thing is really solid. It's a nice driver. 315 poly Hemi, which is they dubbed it the semi Hemi, and it's got a push button automatic, which a lot of Mopars had. The reason why we love the trucks, man, it's just the fins. The fins are so cool, man. Those are just so dope. Love the fins, very unique, very Frankenstein together. I mean, these things were cobbled together. It's something that Dodge just kind of got in late, and they wanted to compete, and they just threw something together. And that's why, you know, I hate to admit it, but I mean, it's just very half-assed looking. But to me, that's just one of the more intriguing things about the truck, is how, you know, Frankenstein it is. I mean, they literally took two-door station wagon quarters and they bolted it onto the bedside. And sounds easy, but it's not. So the two-door station wagon came to about right here. So this part right here is all handmade. So this section right here, they had to take the two-door trim and they had to extend it to fit their long bed pickup. And in the back, they made this. That's all custom from the factory. It's kind of like factory customization. That's how I always describe it. This wasn't a part of an assembly line or anything like that. These are just hand-built trucks made by the special equipment group. And so this panel, so they put a station wagon bumper on it, and then they made this panel right here to cover all the brackets for the bumper. They got rid of the chains, and this is actually just a normal pickup tailgate. The previous owner swapped it out. They got rid of the chains and put this handle here with rods that go to each side. They did a lot of little things just to kind of pretty them up, you know, so it's not so much like your typical pickup truck. But just a few things. If you take a peek in here, you can actually see, I don't know if you can see that. See that under here? That is actually the hole for the fuel fill to put your gas. That's off of the original station wagon quarters. They actually left it on there, which is just wild to me. I mean, that's how crude it was. It's hard to see in my camera, but there's a hole right there from the station wagon quarters. Put your gas in, and then if you take a peek, yeah, I don't think you'll be able to see it, but inside there is actually the door jamb off the quarter panel. So they left the door jamb on the quarter panel and they used it to mount it. They have a bracket coming off the door jamb onto the bed. So they just to make it stronger, but just little details like that, man, are so cool. I love it. So what else? So that's like this. So this is, I mean, obviously this is what makes the truck unique. I mean, these things, man, they get big money at auction. You'd be surprised. One on Mika, one for 150, a 57, and they've become just really collectible. You know, not a lot out there. Very unique. This one, obviously, I don't know if I would classify this as patina. There's some original paint on there, but the previous owner was in the process of primering, obviously. It's just a driver, man. It's cool for what it is. We'd like to restore it one day. And my dad's happy with the way it is. A few other Sweptside only things. These were Sweptside only. The step side pickup, it extended to the back here, so this is like a Sweptside only piece. I want to say their panel truck maybe had these too. I can't remember, but very hard to find if you're missing it. A lot of cool options on this truck. So it had bumper guards. I took them off. I don't like bumper guards. I think it looks cleaner without. And this little, I guess they call it a dolphin hood ornament. That was an option. I don't know if you can see up there on the roof. So the antenna, my camera, the video broke right there. So just to continue on with the antenna. The antenna is 2.5 feet high. And the reason why there's an antenna there is because the Sweptsides had a roof mounted radio option, which I just think is the coolest thing, man. I love that they put that up there. This was an option, so normally they put it under the dash. But the roof mounted radio is actually something that's very desirable with collectors, you know, looking to buy these trucks. It adds a lot of value to the truck. I sold one. I had a couple spares. I sold one for, I think, $1,500 just for the radio. So really cool. Push button automatic. Definitely, that's definitely a Mopar thing. I think obviously some other cars had it too, but whenever I hear push button, I think of Mopar 50s. My 57 Sweptside is 3 on the tree. The push button is, man, it's just so much nicer to drive. But besides that, this thing is, you know, it's a truck. It's really bare bones, no options. You had the option, however, power brakes, power steering, you know, that kind of thing. You could get a Hemi. This is the poly Hemi. Hold on, let me put my phone down. It's really dirty right now, but this is the poly Hemi 315. Some people call it the semi Hemi. It's a you know, it's a good driver. You know, the previous owner went through it a little bit, and we got this truck I think for $9,000, and we were able to drive it off the trailer and cruise around SoCal with it. So no complaints. We got a bitchin' deal. These things, man, these things are not cheap anymore. And to find something like this, just that's solid, never mind the driving part, just to find one that's solid for that price is a huge score these days. So, very cool truck. In 58, they made about, how many they make? About 950, I think, 980. There's no documentation on these trucks, so this is all hearsay. You know, these are the numbers that have been passed around for decades. But if you ever look for Sweptsides for sale, I mean, they're just not out there. They're just hard to find. 57 seems to be the one that's always out there. But nonetheless, I mean, still, on any given Sunday at a car show, you're probably not going to see one. I mean, they're just, you know, not out there. These were Sweptside hubcaps, which were kind of cool. Sweptside only, like that. My 57 has stainless. They had windshield stainless. That was an option. That goes all around. It didn't go on front here. Just starts right here and goes up. That was another option. You know, this is little stuff. I think this was an option right here. It's like a little gravel guard. So very unique trucks, man. Let me just go back to the quarters. I mean, this is really what makes the truck right here. I mean, those quarters, man, are just so cool. It's just not something you would see on a truck, you know? And man, there's a lot of people that don't like this truck at all. They think it's ugly, the ugliest truck they've ever seen. I think one guy said on Instagram or something. And I can see that, you know, yeah, I love the concept, a truck with fins. I think if they really put in some time, they could have made it really cool and really clean looking, you know. I think the tailgate often gets mentioned as being, like they could have did a better job with the tailgate, you know. But they literally took quarter panels and bolted them on to their long bed pickup, and they were on a time crunch. They just put it together, man, made something happen just so they can compete. And, you know, to me, the story of it is definitely one of the more appealing things about, that's why I like the truck. The story is very cool to me. It's very intriguing to me. Love the story. I love how it's Frankenstein together. Like, to me, that's cool, you know? Love the fins, love the tail lights. These were off of, so they used, I think they called it a Suburban, that two-door wagon. I think it was labeled a Suburban. Not 100% sure on that, but these were the tail lights. And these, so these are for, so they use a station wagon bumper. And I believe this is one off a station wagon, but for the Sweptside bumper, they kicked this pad over a little bit so the tailgate could rest on it. And on these trucks, a lot of times you'll see like a crease right here where the metal is starting to tear, and that's because it rests right here. They replaced the tailgate and the bumper on this, but this is a station wagon bumper, and I can tell just because the pad is shifted over. So if I were to lower the tailgate right now, it wouldn't line up where it's supposed to be on this thing. The previous owner switched it because this one's obviously got decent chrome on it. No bumper guards on these, although you will see them with bumper guards because people swapped out the bumpers with, you know, a tailgate bumper. Excuse me, station wagon bumper. I put this handle on here. It's really beat up. I have 3 Sweptside handles that I don't want to use. They're in really nice shape. So these are stainless from the factory. And they make reproduction tailgate handles. Man, it's hard to believe that someone actually made it for these trucks because there's really not a huge demand. But they're overseas, and they're like plastic and they're chrome, and they're not even the correct curvature. You know, there's a curve right there. I mean, they're just awful. So I put this one on there, just a driver. My good ones we'll save for another day. You can kind of see where the tailgate handle is not mounted in the center up here. It's kind of like falling off. That is actually factory correct. I know it looks weird, that is not in the center there, but that's how they did it. It's really odd. A lot of odd things about these trucks, but that's just what makes them so cool, man. And when they're all done up and the two-tone's correct and everything, dude, they look bitchin'. I like the ones that are baby blue and, you know, like an off-white. Really cool two-tone. We don't mind this, you know, as long as we can drive it. And I said it's off the road right now. It's because, man, we're having problems starting it up. I'm not sure if it's something to do with push button or starter's good. I don't know, we gotta just kind of spend some time with it, but definitely want to get this thing back on the road because, I mean, the response we get from people when we're driving this thing is just crazy. A lot of people think that we made the truck ourselves, so they think that this is not something that Dodge actually made. You know, we took quarter panels and mounted it on a truck. And I have to explain to them that's not the case. You know, this was actually factory correct model from Dodge. It's really cool. Dodge 8, 8's for V8. D100, that was their model name for their pickup. They had D100, D200, etc., etc. That's just really cool, man. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you. Let's see if I can see it from here. Oh, underneath there, you can't see it, bummer. But there's an impression in the quarter underneath there. And, oh, you can actually see it right there. It kind of dips down right there. That's when you have the quarter panel and you're mounting it on the station wagon. The pillar for the station wagon goes right there on top of that, and then they weld it to that. So they put in an impression right there, little pocket, little recess for the post of the station wagon to go fit in there, and then they weld around it. I thought that was really neat that they left that on there. It's really, really cool how they left that, and then the gas filler. It's just really cool. Little things like that. Very intriguing. In 59, sales were low on this truck, so they bailed on it. Like 2 months into 59, they ditched it for like a Fleetside pickup, Fleetside style pickup. So the fins and all that, they went away after 59, and for that reason, 59, a couple hundred they made. So not many 59s out there. Very desirable. This is a 58. They made about roughly 1,000, and 57 they made roughly 1,000. 57 seems to be the most collectible. They have the best front end in my opinion. It's more of like a car front end. This is definitely a truck style front end, and the 57s have a single headlight. 57s, man, the trim line on the side, very crude. So it doesn't flow as good as this one, and this one, you know, already doesn't flow as good as it should. So 57 seems to be the most collectible, for sure. So that's it. That is the lowdown. I'll probably, once we get this thing out, I'll probably do more videos and talk more about it. Maybe talk in depth about the quarter panels and how all the little things that they made to mount the quarters. You know, these trucks, they're all about the quarter panels. The quarter panels are the most important part of the truck. Without the quarter panels, man, it's probably a $5,000 truck. You know, maybe 5,000. I don't even know what that. The Dodge pickup is just really not. It's not like the Chevy. You know, they don't get big numbers. So the quarter panels are worth more than the whole truck. You know, I have a set off my 57 right now that that I'm, you know, going to go through because it has a little bit of rust. We started manufacturing parts for the quarter panel, all the little brackets that they made to mount the quarters. So I'm gonna be showing a lot of that, just cool details and information about the truck because people aren't familiar with them. Some people don't care, some people do, but they are very cool story behind them. I love that they have fins. I love all that. Trim, two-tone. In my opinion, it's what a truck should look like, you know? Very cool. I mean, a truck from the 50s should look like, excuse me. When they're done up, man, it's just a really cool truck, man. Really cool. So that's it. Thanks for watching.